All right, guys, welcome to the Give It Podcast, the podcast for blurs, for nerds. If you have a fandom, you are most certainly welcome here. I'm your host, most Black Spartan, of course, not rolling solo tonight, as I do have a guest.
Hi,
You want to introduce yourself?
my name is Chad.
Oh, and together we are the Give It Podcast, much like the WWE of old, guys. We do try to watch our language, especially today. Also, at the same time, guys, maybe things that might be shown that might be too intense for younger viewers, so viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. So, before we do get started, Chad, you're holding the Dragon Ball Super.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
So I decided to get this from the book fair at school, and I started reading it, and Trunks got destroyed, basically.
Of course, but what are you? But where in the story are you? Where are you on the Dragon Ball Super Saga, sir? The people would like to know.
I'm on the part where Trunks, whatever her name is, I forgot her name. The older version of this lady, I forgot her name.
Pan?
Yeah, no, that's not Pan.
I know. That's why I said it incorrectly for a reason.
I don't know her name. I'm just gonna call her background character number 1.
Okay. Well, that's cool, but keep going.
And the Lord of Lords from Universe 10 and the Lord of Lords from Universe 7. They got taken to the land of the Lord of Lords to escape from Zamasu and Goku Black.
Oh, so you're in the Goku. Okay, so that book's from the Goku Black arc. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Well, that's good to know. But as we move along, guys, because again, reading is fundamental, as we will cover comic books later on. But we do have a little bit of news. We do have a trailer. I'm not sure how I feel about it, just because, we had Mad Max and Mad Max Fury Road, but apparently we need a spinoff. Here is the trailer for Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Check it out.
Whatever you have to do. However long it takes. Promise me you'll find your way home. Furiosa. Give me this promise.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
I'm Furiosa!
The darkest of angels. The question is, do you have it in you to make it epic?
Okay, so that was the trailer for Furiosa Mad Max Saga that will be coming to movie theaters next year. Of course, it does have Chris Hemsworth, for all those who are wondering. Yes, that was a post-store there with Anya Taylor-Joy, also starring in the movie as well. I guess it's one of those I'm going to have to, I would love to look into because this is kind of taking place before Mad Max and Fury Road. So I don't know. It just I feel like I feel like it more needs to be given just because of the fact of the matter, guys. I'm not moved to go see it. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Fury Road, just an extended version, or just or just scenes from a director's cut that just never made it to DVD. It just doesn't scream go see it. It really doesn't. But I know, Chad, you haven't watched Mad Max for various reasons. So go no, we're gonna say. We're gonna say.
I was just gonna say, okay.
Yeah, you haven't seen Mad Max. We have to show you the original Mad Max. But again, guys, that was Furiosa Mad Max story, a Mad Max saga, I should say. I'm just gonna reserve judgment on that till very much later. It just for right now, that's the first trailer that came out. I just am not very certain of it, but I know there is something, Chad, that you can talk about. That you and probably other friends who have played GTA. Don't stare and act all innocent. You probably have.
Okay, maybe I have.
Yeah, I know you have. Don't act innocent. It's okay. I played GTA too. Well, for all those that are wondering, you probably saw this cryptic thing pop up about on Rockstar, where it literally says trailer number 1, Tuesday, December 5th, 9 a.m. Eastern time. For a lot of people, what does that mean? It is, I mean, let's be honest, GTA 6 is kind of like the elephant in the room right now. Rockstar has been very quiet, very seldomly quiet. And of course, this would suggest that we might actually see the first GTA 6 trailer come Tuesday, December 5th. Now, with that being said, Chad, are you looking forward to GTA 6, sir?
It's gonna have CJ in it. Okay.
See, let me ask you this question because I'm just curious. Does everybody like CJ from San Andreas? Is that it? Y'all just resonate with him? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, well, I don't know. You played San Andreas. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because you just reminded me of something.
Oh.
So basically, someone at school had printed a picture of CJ. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
And he just taped it to the wall and just started singing the San Andreas theme.
He's that much of a fan. Your friend. Wait. Your friend printed a picture of CJ, put it and then taped it to the wall, and started humming the San Andreas theme. Yeah, I can't say nothing. I've seen things done worse for Vice, especially for Vice City and things of that nature. But that is interesting. I've never really seen that. But yes, GTA 6, guys, is one of those games that is highly anticipated. Still waiting to see if Rockstar were going to do it, because I'm not going to lie, we're so close to the Video Game Awards that I could have sworn that would be the place we would have saw the GTA 6 trailer. So again, it could be that Tuesday. It could be another game because Rockstar has been very, very quiet, which you would think for one of the games that people want to see. You think that Rockstar would be like, hey, we're gonna give the people what they want. Here's GTA 6. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, for me, because I know GTA has had a lot of success online. Through various mods, through various servers. People have played on certain heist games that have came out that have just really kept people playing online. I'm gonna be kind of honest, and I'm gonna ask you this too, Chad. Mm-hmm. Do you think that just what do you want out of GTA 6 that you haven't already done in San Andreas?
I don't know.
You've done well. I mean, what do you want to do? I mean, you already can fly planes, helicopters, boats. I mean, what you want to do? You want to? I mean, fighter planes. You can definitely do that. Do you want to like take over an aircraft carrier or something? Take over a giant Autobot.
Those two things, yes, I want to do. There's one thing that I want to do, which I've seen in a mod before.
What's that? You want to do mine? You want to do mine?
I want to go to space.
You want to go to space in GTA?
Yes.
Space in GTA. Okay.
I just want to like go sneak on a a rocket ship, basically just attack everybody there and take the rocket ship, I don't know, Neptune or something.
I don't know. I've never,
Cause a supernova, maybe.
Now that I think about it, you may be onto something. Because I've seen GTA on a lot of things. I have yet to see it in space. Rockstar, if that's the case, may be able to grant your wish, sir.
Yeah.
You might get your wish granted. I'm not saying it until they actually see the trailer, guys. But like I said, with GTA6 coming out, I mean, you can't help but not look forward to it because, to be honest, there's never been really a bad GTA game. So,
it really hasn't.
Yeah, no, yeah. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
So, I just have to say this:
Mm-hmm.
if you can't go to space in GTA 6, I'm going to scream the loudest scream I've ever screamed in my entire life.
Well, first, please don't. I think there are going to be some surprise. Like I said, a lot has been done in GTA Chat, but space is one of them. I don't remember you could go to space in any of them. So you might be onto something. You really might be onto something that. But speaking of things to be onto something, I do have to take it to wrestling for a second because, I never thought this would happen. And it was plastered everywhere when it happened at Survivor Series War Games. And yes, Randy Orton has returned, but so has this character. Okay, so I'm going to cut right there. So yes, the man who literally is probably one of the most polarizing figures in all sports entertainment, CM Punk, has returned surprisingly to the WWE. And my son was asking me, he's like, "Who is CM Punk?" And really, to be honest with you guys, for all those of my age and up, know who CM Punk is, especially during the Attitude Era, his run in Ring of Honor, his short run in the UFC, his close to short run in AEW, and now being back in the fold of WWE. To be honest, guys, and I've seen this talked about, especially on the Beeline podcast, I don't think WWE made the right move because CM Punk has literally been. He's not the draw that he was. I mean, yeah, it was Chicago. Chicago is always going to cheer for its heroes. I mean, the pop there wasn't as big as people thought it was, but at the same time, guys, it just, going forward, where's going to be his role in this? And I keep saying this all the time that, it's like Hulk Hogan. You keep bringing Hulk Hogan back, and the pops get less and less. The attraction's not there, the draw's not there, the pay's not there. CM Punk is the same way. I don't think that he can really do a lot more except help the upper talent if he chooses to. But if he doesn't, he's basically going to pull what he did at AEW, which is basically kick everybody off of Collision that he did not like. So, Chad, to answer your question about CM Punk, he's like a guy that you really don't want on your roster unless you don't really care about your show. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it this way. Like The Rock?
Mm-hmm.
And what The Rock?
Completely overrated.
Whoa. Okay. Why is he completely overrated?
It's just I used to be a fan of The Rock, but now I've seen him in so many movies that I just got tired of it.
But why is he overrated? So you're saying he's overrated because you see him everywhere?
No, yeah, like not really overrated, but he's just Every time I
Mhm.
turn on my TV, first thing I see is The Rock staring me in the face.
Okay, so let's do it this way because you're talking from that every time you turn TV on, you see The Rock everywhere.
Yeah,
But are you saying he's overrated as an actor or is he overrated as a wrestler?
as an actor.
Okay, I can understand that because I was gonna say as a wrestler he was actually pretty good. But I can see your point. But to get back to CM Punk, he was basically CM Punk. I just don't see it. I don't see the draw. I don't see the angles. I don't see where it pays out. If you guys think differently in the comments, let me know because I'm just not seeing it. I'm not. I really, really am not. But that's just mine. But that's just my opinion on this. But speaking of opinions, as my other son is awake, but speaking of opinions, guys, Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, believes that the Marvels underperforming was because there's not enough executives. He says, quote unquote, quality needs attention. It doesn't happen by accident. Quantity, in our case, diluted quantity, as he said to NBC News. Now, of course, he's talking about the fact, and I gotta point this up. I gotta really point this out because if you haven't seen the Marvels, I really think you should. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. It's actually a movie that really took a lot of the fans' concerns to heart and actually delivered us a quality movie. But in the world, but in the movie world, sales tells a story, according to some people. And of course, the Marvels is well on its way to making over 300 million, but currently it's sitting somewhere between 47 million as far as opening, which was the lowest of any Marvel movie to be ever opened. And again, this is the thing. This is the thing I have a problem with, because we've also talked about some of the Blurred's Eye View podcast. He was also talking about this the Blurred's Eye View podcast, and really, guys, I have said this before that yes, Marvel does have a quality problem, as it was found out that they didn't have showrunners, which kind of explains a lot. At the same time, Marvel movies, they were doing more quantity than quality. That's true. But I don't think it was executives that was the problem because, executives always believe you have to have an executive to make something great, which obviously isn't true because executives also put out movies that really nobody wanted to watch. You don't believe me? There's a few I can name, but because in the event that we ever get sponsored, I'm just going to keep those to myself. But executives are not the problem. However, one Marvel heroine currently right now, she has actually got the better idea, and I love what she said. And it's actually Miss Marvel herself, Iman Vellani. When she was talking to the direct, she sat there and said, quote unquote, I don't know if it's just about I don't know if it's about just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because then like what's left? I think it's just about making the audience care about the characters. And I think they've established so many wonderful characters in the last phase of the MCU. It will be nice to see them all again and see them team up. From the mouth of babes. And I say this all the time, guys, because that right there, coming from an MCU fan, because that's who Iman Vellani is. Iman Vellani, first off, wonderful as Miss Marvel, but she has it right when it comes to the fact of how Marvel movies should be done. That yes, they're exactly right. They actually had us care about them. They actually had us care about the characters. They had us care about, like, did you care about Iron Man, Jack?
Yes, I was crying when he died.
Did you care about Captain America?
Yes.
Did you care about Black Widow?
Yes.
That was kind of a hesitant yes.
Okay, maybe.
Tell the truth.
No.
Tell the truth. There's no right or wrong answer.
No.
Just tell the truth.
No.
Okay. So, but it did show that you cared about some characters.
Yes.
Like the first time you saw Black Panther, what'd you think?
Probably one of the best Marvel movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
But it made you care about the child, didn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So, Iman Vellani does have a wonderful point that when you do put care and love into Marvel characters, that the simple fact of the matter, guys, that it really does, it does change things. It really does. And it does make people care. The quality of the movies do come back. And so you don't have an issue like Ragnarok and Thor, Love and Thunder, because we're looking at you, Watiti. We're looking at you.
Who that?
Say what?
Who that?
The director of the Thor movies.
Okay, Love and Thunder was a pretty disappointment, but okay.
Oh, yeah, disappointment. Let's go with that word.
To me, it was
Let's go with that word. Disappointment. Let's go with that word completely. But with that also being said, guys, we are going to move forward because that's not the only news that we do have. Because Amazon Prime, outside of Invincible, if you haven't seen the first 4 episodes, they are available on Amazon Prime right now. Definitely not for kids. I cannot stress that enough. Invincible, Chad, is not for kids.
I don't plan on watching it anytime soon.
Oh, I know. Just again, I have to set that out for the audience. It's not. It is a superhero adult show. So,
Okay.
so again, it's not. It's something that's not for you, sir. But
Dad,
yeah,
there's only one character that I know from that entire show.
who?
Omni-Man.
Of course, because Omni-Man's in Mortal Kombat.
Yes, that's
how
basically it.
And that's how you know. But that's fine. That's fine. But Amazon Prime does have a new show that's coming out. They did see the screenshots for it. Their Fallout series. So as you can see right there, guys, we do have a few stills that they did show that's directly from Vanity Fair, where of course you can see the traditional power armor from Fallout, which actually looks pretty accurately good. Of course, there's also the Ghoul, which again, Walter Coggins will be playing him. And if you don't know who the Ghoul is, I don't want to spoil it for you just because it is a Fallout lore. But from the stills that they've shown us, guys, these actually look pretty good. I mean, like I said, detail is everything. Detail and storyline is everything.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
So is Fallout set in the future?
Fallout is literally set after a nuclear fallout, in which you are to survive and basically build from scratch.
So basically Minecraft, but you get nuked and you have to survive from that.
More like the darker version of Minecraft, but you're onto something.
Okay.
But yes, but it looks great. Like I said before, Fallout, the new Fallout series, does look great. I'm gonna look forward to it. As of right now, we don't really have a release date on when it's going to come out, but trust me, knowing Amazon Prime, we will definitely get that information. So, moving right along, I know this is going to make you happy. Okay, don't fall off the seat because ain't nothing but concrete bottom. So,
I thought that was wood.
Yeah, it's hardwood. So, I know you're excited about this one because this screenshot came up over the interwebs. And yes, as you can see right there, guys, that is the Sonic 3 with some familiar gauntlets and some familiar shoes. And Chad, do you want to tell them about why we're so excited about Sonic 3?
Shadow.
You gotta say it. You gotta say it where it can be heard, sir.
Okay, I think it's Shadow.
Yeah, you can say it's Shadow because
it's Shadow.
You can say it's Shadow. It's fine. But yes, my co-host is right that the person they're showing there is Shadow. And as a friend of mine said, the detail on this is amazing. From the shoes, from the gauntlets to all of the above. Of course, we're only seeing the bottom, but it's only because beforehand, for guys that don't remember, we bullied the crap out of the first Sonic when it came out because it didn't look like Sonic. And yet the studio decided to go ahead and spend millions of dollars and actually do it the right way. But that was a picture of Sonic. That was a picture of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with the character Shadow showing there, which is basically going to be hitting the theaters on December 20th of next year.
You're kidding me.
It's Chad. Okay, well, you got to understand something, Chad. The strike is over. There was a strike to where everything got halted. The strike just resumed. A few weeks ago, my friend. So there's going to be a lot of things. There's going to be a lot of things that are just now getting back to shape. Like, would you believe that next year all we're going to get is one Marvel movie the entire year?
What is it?
Deadpool. That's the only Marvel movie we're getting next year. All other movies are going to be coming out in 2025 and beyond. So, it's not bad. Like
basically, the only Marvel movie that's coming out this year I can't even watch.
Well, oh yeah, it is rated R. You can't watch it. Sorry, dude. Sorry, dude. You're exactly right. You can't watch it. It's rated R. I'm sorry. But no. But again, going back to Sonic, there's not really a lot of story here. We do know that Project Shadow at the end of Sonic Hedgehog 2 was released. Shadow from his various times in Sonic shows, his own video game, Shadow the Hedgehog, in which you could play evil, you could play hero, for all those that do remember. It's gonna be interesting. But guys, let me know in the comments what you think about Sonic the Hedgehog 3 because from the bottom down, Shadow looks great. But it's going to be interesting to see who's going to voice him and how we're going to go to from there. So that also. Wait, what's going on?
Say.
Go for it. Why are you doing the whole Morpheus thing? Go for it.
If they go down the route of Sonic, either it was Sonic Adventure 2 or Sonic Adventure. Which one was it? I forgot which one it was. It was the one where they had like the granddaughter of the granddad of Dr. Robotnik.
You may come back to you. You may come back to you.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about that just goes way too deep into my brain.
So you may come back to you?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna come back to you. Okay. So other stories good guys. Like I said, we don't really have a lot of news this week. But this one kind of betwixt my biscuits. Why? Because Zack Snyder.
Oh, great.
Again, I don't know why. And I bring this up, and I say this is the nice version because I have my sons around me right now. But Zack Snyder says he hypothetically would consider returning to DC if only he can do a Dark Knight Returns adaptation. And here's my thing of the Dark Knight Returns adaptation. The Frank Miller run in DC for the Dark Knight Returns was great. I had no issues with it. It was a great story, great arc. And the art was great. The story was great. Let's let it have its run. The fact that Zack Snyder had sat there and said that because, and again, and I also have to say this because number one, he's not lobbying for this. He's not. That's the one thing I want to point out very heavily. Snyder is not lobbying for this. This was a question that he was asked. It was a question that was pointed out to him by Snyder fanboys, and he sat there and said, that's the only way he can come back to DC. I have to stress this very heavily before we move on to our comic polls. Snyder has had 4 shots. He's had 4 shots. Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, Justice League, and then the Snyder Cut. My friend has had 4 shots at getting it right. He failed on all 4 shots. Now the fact of the matter is that they want to move forward, and he wants to sit there and say, well, if it was up to him, he would do Dark Knight. He would do a Dark Knight Returns adaptation. And that is where I have to sit there and say, no, Mr. Snyder, no. Shoot.
So why would he even think about that? Because when I watched the Justice League movie, I didn't like it at all because it was like I don't think anybody wanted to see a movie that was all black and white the entire movie.
Well, that was a part of a different cut. So I know what you're talking about. That was the theatrical cut that was done. But the thing about it is, though, Chad, the story itself was lacking because he was more. Zack Snyder is a visual director. 300 was great, but it was a Zack Snyder film. Visually beautiful, pretty much action, don't do a lot of story. Now, because he tried to do the same thing with DC, I'm sorry, I just don't see it. But there are some Snyder fanboys out there that just won't let it go. And I mean won't let it go. I'm not trying to down you guys. I'm not trying to knock you guys. But in the words of Elsa from Frozen, let it go. Let it go. And good luck to Zack Snyder Rebel Moon, because honestly, if Rebel Moon does not do good, I don't see him directing any movies for a little while longer.
What's Rebel Moon?
Rebel Moon is Zack Snyder's new. Yeah, Rebel Moon is Zack Snyder's new movie on Netflix.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that's going to be interesting to see what he comes out with that. But like I said, guys, also Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. It's hitting. I mean, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but wow. Say what?
I was just doing the moist critical.
Because I was going to sit there and say Jujutsu Kaisen, especially the Shibuya arc. Wow, that is all I'm going to say is wow, because it's that destructive. And again, I don't want to spoil it. It just recently came out on Crunchyroll. The last couple of episodes. So Mappa surprised everybody. So last couple of episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen are out there for you to see. And like I said, much like my other son here who wants to get around, it is definitely worth watching. And It is definitely worth watching. At the same time, it is one of those you're gonna have a wow moment. I'll put it this way. What happens at the end makes Pain look like a Boy Scout. Makes Pain from Naruto look nice. That's about the best way I could put that.
Oh no.
Yo, you haven't seen it yet, but
Almighty push.
yeah, you thought the Almighty push was something.
This world shall know pain.
Yeah, well,
I'll be right back.
Sakuna definitely did do that. But while that's going on, guys, what are you getting? Okay, something. So, but with that being said, guys, Jujutsu Kaisen was exactly that. But yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you, but to go see it. But like I said, don't have a lot of news here, guys. I do want to get into some comic pulls very quickly, just because my other co-host Joe Tonello is currently being held hostage at tree decorations, so I have to check on him eventually. But anyway, want to get to comic books. We do have some pulls that Joe did get for us, so I just want to get right into those. First one, Spider-Man Gang War. Now, again, this is one me and Joe had covered, where again, the story is that New York right now is on fire because, and I never thought I'd say this, Tombstone is on life support, and pretty much every underworld mob boss in New York is trying to take control of New York, while Spider-Man and others are trying to stop it. Now, again, since these have recently came out, I'm not going to go into detail. I will highly recommend reading this, as this is the beginning of the Gang War story arc for Marvel. Definitely was interesting as far as some instances of it. But again, no spoilers. Definitely letting you guys know this is definitely worth watching. Really? As you decided to that was your surprise?
Shall know pain.
That you're missing the mask, ain't you?
Yeah, we don't talk about the mask.
You lost the mask. That's all right. But anyway, back to the comic pulls. That was Spider-Man. Again, that's the main Spider-Man Gang War, of course, strike. The next one that I have, guys, of course, following the Gang War is Luke Cage. Luke Cage issue 1. Also a good one, just because it is continuing the Gang War story. Love to see more of the man back in his original format. But like I said, no spoilers. But in order to keep up with the Gang War story, I'd highly recommend that you definitely read that. However you get your comic books. Next one, Spider-Woman, issue 1. This is also following the Gang War. This actually ties Jessica into the Gang War story. Again, still a great issue. Would highly recommend it to continue the Gang War story. But also the artwork. Fox, Borelli, and Prianto really did bring this, and it really does pop. So again, I highly recommend that. Next one, X-Men Blue Origins. For the simple fact of the matter, guys, this story, and I say this one, it is interesting that we finally get to see the origins for Mystique and Nightcrawler get changed, but in a good way. Well, to some people, and there's a lot of people out there that might not like the story change of how Nightcrawler got to understand how Nightcrawler and Mystique got to have their reconciliation. But I leave it at that, because that's going to be something that me and Joe are going to talk about when he is back on the Get Bit podcast, because I definitely want his opinions on this, as well as you guys. So if you have read X-Men Blue Origins, I do want your opinion on this, because again, it is kind of a hot topic right now in the comic world. But again, good read. The only issue I have with X-Men's Blue Origins is that it was just a wee bit too long for my taste. And I mean a wee bit too long, just because the simple fact of the matter, guys, you don't really need that long of a story to explain a really good ending. But that's my only gripe about it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why does Nightcrawler have a Spider-Man suit?
Because in this one, it's a certain Nightcrawler.
Oh.
It's a certain Nightcrawler. But like I said, can't really go into it because number 1, we're live, and 2, no spoilers.
Okay.
So I'll explain it. I will explain it off camera.
Okay.
Next one, Miss Marvel, issue 4, Miss Marvel New Mutant. Also another one worth reading. Just because it does keep forward with the fall of X. Again, no spoilers, since that is starting to go toward Rise of X. But again, great issue. No problems with this one. It didn't feel too long. It didn't feel too short. It just really felt like Imani Balani, who is also playing Miss Marvel in the MCU, also has actually got her hand in writing her own character's comic, really seems to understand exactly what we want as comic book readers. Again, no complaints. Highly recommend it. Next one, Alan Scott, Green Lantern, issue, I believe this is issue 2. Now, of course, Green Lantern, Alan Scott's Green Lantern, is, of course, is my buddy Joe Tonello's favorite Green Lantern. I'm a John Stewart person myself. This is pretty much following Alan Scott's story. Again, it's been well done so far. But no spoilers. I still want to sit there and allow people to get to understand it and read it. Let me know in the comments what you thought of that as well. But I also recommend Green Lantern, Alan Scott Green Lantern issue 2 as a great read.
Is he in Arkham Asylum?
There's a reason, but you do see Arkham Asylum back there, but there's a reason. Next comic, Amazon's Attack issue 2. Again, also a good read if you're following the Wanted Wonder Woman storyline, in which all the Amazons are being hunted or tracked. Again, this is another retelling of Amazon's Attack, but so far it's actually been a great story, including Miss Marvel, who has gotten her power back, but in a different type of way. But again, a highly recommended read. But what are you gonna say? Are you gonna say something, Chad?
Who that with the Shazam powers?
That's Miss Marvel, Mary Marvel. I'll explain later how she got her powers. I can't explain it here, but I'll explain off camera, I promise.
Okay.
Next issue, The Flash, issue number 3. Again, it does. I do recommend reading this one because it does extend the Flash story itself. Again, let me know what you think in the comments. I didn't think it was too bad. I was still a bit worried at first after issue 2, but issue 3 did kind of restore my faith in Spurrier and Novato Jr. for a second. But great read, would recommend that as well. And finally, guys, Green Arrow, issue number 6. I like what they did with this one because I was a little bit worried about Green Arrow. I really, truly was, just because of where the story was going from, since this is following Crisis on Infinite Earths. But Ollie does kind of have a happy ending. It's about the best way I can put that. I say happy ending with a question mark. But again, it's still a great read. Highly recommend it. This is the first time in a long time that we have literally went through the comic pool list, and I recommended all of them. I mean, there are a few sometimes where they're okay. It might not be my cup of tea, but they might be somebody else's. But again, all of them great reads. And I know, Chad, you're gonna have a lot of questions about those issues, but I promise you I'll answer them out this podcast.
Okay.
Because you do have a lot of questions. In fact, like I said, we don't do spoilers. We don't do spoilers here unless it's been a week since publication. But as we wrap this up, guys, we do want to show love to Rick's Comic City, where you can find voted Nashville's #1 place for comic books, animes, mangas, collectible toys, things of that nature for the last 6 years. They actually have 2 locations, one in Nashville, Tennessee, one in Clarksville, Tennessee, of course, Locker Nerd and Fort Campbell. You can definitely go into their website. You can see right there, guys, it's rickscomiccity.com, to where you can also shop for comics. You can also do trades. You can also do pull lists, the whole 9. We want to show them love because they show us love. Now, of course, you can mention that we sent you. Doesn't get you any discounts, but at the same time, we want to show love to the local comic book stores. And yes, I do mean the local comic book stores. Reason being, guys, because we cannot stress this enough, especially the kids out there who may or may not be young enough to understand what's going on in the world right now. But comic books are under attack. Books are under attack. Things that nature that they don't want you to read are under attack. So as me and Joe have both said on here, we want you to read the banned books. We want you to expand your mind. Get to read the books that they don't want you to read because there's something in there they don't want you to know. And again, guys, support your local comic book stores. If you're in the Middle Tennessee area, support Rick's Comic Book City. If you're not in the Middle Tennessee area, support your local comic book stores, support your local libraries. They are the last living places to where you can get your comics, your mangas, your animes, your collector toys. And don't get me wrong, cons are great too. Definitely enjoy them, support them as well. But that's what we're running into right now. So, like I said, we didn't really have a lot this week. So again, I just wanted to have my son here. Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you, Chad, for being on here with me. But
You're welcome.
do you want to let people know to a certain extent, what's going on with you? Or because you're trying to get your stream on, ain't you?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, promote yourself. This is where you do it.
Yeah.
Promote yourself. Come on.
Actually, I don't have it anymore. I don't know what happened to it.
Okay, so we're gonna have to work on Chad's advertising skills. But aside from that, but yes, I do thank my son for being on here. It's always fun when I can have my son on here doing the podcast with me. I always have a lot of fun when I have the chance to do it with him. Not that I don't miss my co-host Joe. He'll definitely be back next Get Bit podcast. And also, guys, some shameless plugging before we do get out of here. I do want to first shout out my boy Vaughn at Big VZA Dot. You can definitely check him out at Big VZA Dot on social media as he does beats for songs, for commercials, for television, things of that nature. If you got a jingle that you need to have done, that is the man you need to see. Check him out, Big VZA Dot on all social media. Now, you guys have probably been wondering Blurred Station. We have talked about this a lot, not only on my podcast, but other podcasts as well. They are the new Netflix. And yes, that's right, because at Blurred Station, they do show people of color and blurred-like entertainment. We're talking movies, television, game shows, comics, things of that nature, the whole kit and caboodle. Why? Because do you really want to trust Netflix? Do you really want to trust Amazon, a place like that right now that are removing content, adding content at the same time the prices have increased? Yes, they telling us to run your pockets. But not at Blurred Station. At Blurred Station right now, it is still $10.99 a month. Yes, $10.99 a month. You can still be able to join Blurred Station and be able to buy food. That is crucial. But if you do want to look into it, definitely check that out, blurredstation.com. And if you'll do me a favor, go to the Join Now button. And when you go to the Join Now button, it'll take you to the membership subscriptions. If you will be ever so kindly to go to Blurred's Eye View Affinity membership, and really once you click on that, there's going to be a listing that's going to ask for Affinity Influence Partner. Now, of course, anybody here would be more than happy to have you, including myself as Black Spartan, or we'll be watching Roomful of Birds, Chris Fury, Tafari TV, Navy Montel, or Geek by Heart. But once you select them and subscribe now using the $10.99 Affinity membership, and once you pay, that's it. You're in. You get to view all the wonderful content. Undead Horizon Issue 1, just to name a few. But again, you're probably wondering about the Affinity membership. Well, after 36 months of paying $10.99, you have the ability to own a piece of Blurred Station. Do you understand owning a piece of a network? Have you ever want to own a piece of Netflix? Have you ever want to own a piece of Amazon Prime? Well, you can do so without having to go through E-Trade, Fidelity Investment, and paying a buttload of cash for one share. Whereas for 36 months out of paying $10.99, you can own a share of Blurred Station. So again, it is the new wave. We are trying to promote. We are trying to make sure that you people are on it. So if you do get a chance, definitely check that out at Blurred Station. You will not be disappointed. Now, as for myself, guys, as you can see right there, BlackFox447 on all socials. As I usually do reviews on everything that I read, that I watch, and gym stuff. Sometimes do a couple of push-ups. At the same time, guys, I know cons are still going down. I'm just gonna say my 3 rules very quickly when it comes to cons. Number 1, respect the cosplayer at all times. I cannot stress this enough. My friend at Hellspawn Cosplay proved this right, and it's amazing how many creepers out there still don't respect people. And I'm sorry to all those creepers out there that think it's okay to take pictures without consent or to sit there and just basically be a perv. I'll let you know, hands are rated E for everybody. Just point that out there. Number 2, again, hygiene is important. You do not want to go to any place with a whole bunch of people and you smell like an outdoor trash can. You smell like an outdoor bathhouse. As long as soap, deodorant, and those things are available, and mouthwash and toothpaste, please, oh please, be clean before you come in.
I recommend Old Spice.
You just like Old Spice because of the smell, but respect. Aside from that, number 3, guys, is the same rule that I have for myself as I have for others. In the words of Will Wheaton, simply put, don't be a dick and we'll all be cool. Now, the link at the bottom, guys, will make that just a little bit bigger for you guys to see. If you'll copy and paste that link into your browser, taking my link tree, that's YouTube and Facebook groups for all of my podcasts. How the Crack got here, Get Bitten Off on this podcast. Like, share, subscribe. Don't just like and walk off. I mean, I'm begging you people, simply put, if you want, we're trying to grow. We're trying to reach the masses. We're trying to reach out and touch someone. The only way we can do that is through you. We need you. It's like PBS. We can't do this without you. We're kind of like Sesame Street, except we don't have an Oscar the Grouch. But the point I'm making is, like, share it, post it. Word of mouth is still the greatest form of advertisement to beat the algorithm. And again, shows like ours, there's many of them out there. Do You Speak Geek, Blurred's Eye View, Roomful of Birds, Geek by Heart, Blurdicon Speaks, Mayhem Media. I could keep going down the line. There are so many of us out there, but the only way we can share ourselves is by promoting, and the only way you can do so is, again, word of mouth. Share us like you would share us if we were the best little hideaway food joint on earth. Share us like you would like you were Keith Lee and you're basically telling us that we need to check those people. We need to check those people out. That's what you can do. But again, like, share, and subscribe. That's all we ask. Now, again, Joe is definitely not with me. He will definitely be back next week. Again, with news, especially with news, since the Video Game Awards does happen that Thursday. So we'll probably have a lot to talk about. But we'll definitely be back here next Friday, same Get Bit time, same Get Bit channel. Of course, I want to thank my co-host Chad for being with me tonight. I certainly appreciate it. And my other co-host who went right back to sleep. So aside from that, guys, the last thing I'll say, what do you say? I'm sorry, what do you say, Chad?
He's asleep.
Yep, he's 8. He's 8 months old. He's going to sleep. But the last thing I'll say before we get out of here, guys, when it comes to Get Bit Podcast, it's all about fandoms. We all have a fandom. We all love them. We all love to talk about them, debate them. But again, we need to be more about sharing them, inviting them. We don't need to be toxic. Nobody has a right answer. Nobody's correct about anything. But we need to get back to actually sharing, inviting people out there. There's more blurs and nerds out there than you think there are. They just need to be welcome. And in many places outside of this podcast, you are welcome. But especially at Get Bit Podcast, the doors of the church are always open. What do you say, Chad? One Piece. I love the fact you watch One Piece. That being said, guys, I've been Will. That's been my son, Chad. This has been the Get Bit Podcast for tonight, guys. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next Friday. Peace.
This world shall know pain.